All right, let's jump right into this explainer because today we are tackling what is arguably the biggest mystery of our entire existence. We're doing a massive cosmic zoom in, looking way past our own solar system to a newly discovered neighborhood that honestly has the whole scientific community buzzing. We're talking about the TRAPPIST-1 system. It's a place where the absolute holy trinity of life, water, air, and land, might actually exist all in one spot.
So, are we alone out here in this vast universe? When we look out into the dark, based on the data we're unpacking today, we're really left with two main possibilities. The first is that, well, no, we aren't alone. There are advanced, intelligent civilizations out there. But, space is just so unimaginably huge that they haven't been able to reach out. Or maybe they did send a signal, but we just weren't advanced enough to catch it yet. They might have just looked at Earth, assumed it was a dead rock, and completely gave up. But then there's the second possibility. Maybe there aren't tons of highly advanced civilizations exactly like ours, but the cosmos is just absolutely teeming with life in other stages. It's super likely we should be looking for life in its microbial phase. And think about how wild this is. Somewhere out there, a planet might be right in the middle of its own dinosaur era. Maybe they're even facing their own impending extinction event right now. And that is exactly why finding habitable environments, places with the right conditions to support literally any stage of life, is our absolute #1 priority in astronomy.
Which brings us to a genuinely mind-blowing discovery, the number 40. Located exactly 40 light-years away from us in the Aquarius constellation, astronomers stumbled onto something truly special. And I know 40 light-years sounds far, but in the grand scale of the universe, that is practically our cosmic backyard. Let's actually trace how this all unfolded, because it really is a testament to human curiosity. So the star anchoring this whole system was first discovered back in 1999 by astronomer John and his team. They gave it a, very catchy name, 2MASS J2306-2928-0502285. But the real breakthrough, that hit in May 2016, when the TRAPPIST telescope spotted 3 rocky planets orbiting it. And then, just a few months later in early 2017, NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope, teamed up with some ground observatories, confirmed a grand total of 7 planets orbiting this one single star, a total historic first. Now, what's super fascinating here is just how completely different this star, now officially called TRAPPIST-1, is from our own sun. TRAPPIST-1 is what's known as an ultra-cool red dwarf, so it's way smaller and far, far dimmer than our blindingly bright sun. But here's the kicker. Scientists believe it's significantly older. We're talking about a star that's been shining steadily for 5 to 8 billion years. And that is crucial, right? Because a long lifespan like that gives any planets around it this incredibly massive, stable window of time for life to potentially evolve. So, red dwarfs, they are basically prime real estate for hosting life over billions of years. To really put its scale into perspective for you, TRAPPIST-1 is actually tiny for a star. It's physically only a little bit larger than our solar system's biggest planet, Jupiter. But do not let that size fool you. It is densely packed, holding a mass about 80 times greater than Jupiter's. So it's this heavy, compact, ultra-cool engine anchoring an entire family of worlds. But without a doubt, the most thrilling part of that 2017 discovery was where these planets were actually hanging out. 3 out of the 7 planets sit perfectly inside the habitable zone, the Goldilocks region. They aren't so close to the star that their water just boils off into space, and they aren't so far away that everything freezes into a block of ice. The temperatures are just right for liquid water to exist on a hard, rocky surface, which is, of course, the ultimate prerequisite for life as we know it. There is a bit of a catch, though. Because TRAPPIST-1 is so cool and dim, its habitable zone is pulled way in, super close to the star itself. And because these planets orbit so tightly, it's highly likely that they're tidally locked. That means a planet's rotation perfectly matches its orbit. The result? You got one side of the planet facing the star in this perpetual baking daylight, while the other side faces out into deep space in an eternal freezing night. It creates this wildly extreme climate dynamic that we are just dying to understand. Okay, let's get specific and see how this all paints a picture. Let's look at TRAPPIST-1d. This is the 3rd planet in the system, situated right in the inner region of that habitable zone. And what makes planet D so incredibly special is that even though it's in a completely different star system, it receives almost the exact same amount of sunlight from its star as we do from our sun. It's such a fascinating world. It's got about 30% of Earth's mass and is roughly 80% of Earth's size. and it sits remarkably close to its star, just 0.022 astronomical units away. To put that into perspective, that's a mere 2% of the distance between Earth and our Sun. Because it's so close, it just whips around the star. A full year on this rocky world zips by in just 4 Earth days. And the surface gravity? It's about 0.48 g, meaning if you were standing there right now, you'd weigh about half of what you do here on Earth. Now here is where things get genuinely exciting. Scientists actually believe up to 5% of this planet's total mass could be liquid water. That means it could be hosting a massive liquid ocean with hundreds of times more water volume than all of Earth's oceans combined. With estimated temperatures ranging from a totally reasonable 9 degrees Celsius down to minus 18 degrees, and an active atmosphere potentially balancing out the heat between those day and night sides, it boasts an Earth Similarity Index, or ESI, of 0.91. That makes it the 6th most Earth-like exoplanet we've ever discovered. But the excitement definitely doesn't stop there. 0.95. That is the incredibly high Earth Similarity Index of our next stop. We're talking about the 2nd most Earth-like exoplanet ever discovered anywhere. Say hello to TRAPPIST-1e. The stats here just brilliantly illustrate how remarkably close Planet E is to our own home. Its mass is 78% of Earth's, and its size is a staggering 91% of Earth's. It is practically our twin in terms of dimensions. It sits slightly further out at 0.029 AU, so about 3% of our Earth-Sun distance, and it completes a full orbit, a whole year, in just 6 Earth days. It ends up getting about 60% of the sunlight that we get here on Earth. Now, because it gets a bit less sunlight, its average surface temperature is definitely colder, dropping down to somewhere between minus 25 and minus 40 degrees Celsius. However, and this is a big however, because it's tidally locked, there's this magical region called the Silver Line, or Terminator Zone. It's basically a permanent twilight strip, right exactly between the eternal boiling day side and the frozen night side. Along this silver line, temperatures could actually hit a perfect 0 degrees Celsius. That would allow liquid water and potentially complex life to just thrive in this stable, temperate ring wrapped around the entire planet. Finally, let's zoom out just a little bit to the outer edge of the habitable zone, to the 5th planet in the system, TRAPPIST-1F. So this world is exactly the same physical size as Earth, but it's a bit less dense, coming in at only 70% of Earth's mass. Scientists estimate that a whopping 20% of this planet could actually be made up of water. It's likely in the form of solid ice and water vapor, all enveloped by a really thick, highly volatile atmosphere. It orbits at 0.037 AU, so roughly 4% of the Earth's sun distance, completing a year every 9 days. The gravity here would actually feel pretty comfortable. At 0.62 g, a 100-kilogram person would weigh a breezy 62 kilograms. But, while your weight might be perfectly comfortable, its climate is an absolute wild ride. Due to what scientists believe is an incredibly thick, dense atmosphere, think something very similar to our neighbor Venus, the temperatures on Planet F violently swing. Depending on exactly where you're standing, it ranges from a freezing minus 50 degrees Celsius all the way up to a scorching 1,000 degrees. Water on the day side would just vaporize instantly, while on the night side it would freeze absolutely solid. And yet, even here, a habitable silver line could still exist right in that transition zone, earning it an Earth Similarity Index of 0.70. So the really crucial takeaway here is this. Right in our own cosmic backyard, orbiting just one single tiny star, we have 3 entirely distinct laboratories for studying life. We've got a potential deep ocean world with Planet D sitting at a 0.91 ESI. We have a near-perfect Earth twin with Planet E and an amazing 0.95 ESI. And we have this volatile atmospheric giant with Planet F at a 0.70 ESI. It is literally an absolute gold mine for astronomers. In fact, the immediate future of space exploration over the next 5 to 10 years relies heavily on amazing technology like the James Webb Space Telescope, alongside these highly advanced ground-based observatories. As they really get fully operational and start focusing their lenses directly on TRAPPIST-1, they are going to give us an unprecedented, incredibly close look at the exact chemical makeup of the atmospheres of these 3 planets. We might soon know for an absolute fact if they hold breathable air or actual biosignatures of life. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to do something tonight. Just look up at the night sky and ask yourself, if this much staggering potential, we're talking ocean worlds, Earth twins, and habitable silver lines, if all of that exists around just one tiny, dim neighboring star, a mere 40 light years away, what else is out there, just waiting in the dark, ready to be found? It's a huge universe out there. Thanks for joining me on this cosmic journey. Keep your eyes on the stars and definitely stay curious.